Outside here, I've got a bunch of kids' bikes, and most of them are for parts. This is the Boneyard, and they're next to the Africa bikes here. But out here, you can just pull from this stuff as needed. There's a couple good bikes in here, and at this point I'm looking at them as sacrificial lambs, just bikes to ensure that all the bikes inside get built. So feel free to add to this pile when you find bikes that aren't worth building, and yeah. So inside here we've got it pretty well cleaned up. Here on the left are just adult bikes lined up, and that's on the wall as well as in the row here on the ground. And one thing that you could do is flip some of these, especially on the end here, to next door into that empty rack space, and then fill it with kids' bikes in here. My method has been, as I take them out of the north bay over here, I'll bring them in and we'll pump up the tires, and then next week when we come we'll know what's going on. All the bikes here on the left of the center row have had their tires pumped up last week and the week before. So I like to start the day by finding the flats so that everybody just joins in on that and feels all the tires here in the shop, pulls out the flats, and then we'll tackle those. So those have been filled up as of last week and the week before. These are the freshest ones. These are the ones we pulled out just last week, and they should be checked. If they have flats, go ahead and patch them, and then we'll check them again next week. This pile over here on the right is the finished pile. It's everything of the 300 that we've got done, about 40 or so. And they should be good to go. They should be clean, have all their parts, grips, you know, good serviceable parts, that kind of stuff. So as you finish bikes, be sure that they get a white tag, so that tells us that they've been finished. These white tags, and they're over there on the pegboard. And flatten them down. I'm not flattening every single bike, but it doesn't hurt, of course. And yeah. One more note about the finished bikes is go ahead and check the tires on all of these. And if you're finding flats, let's just go ahead and straight up just change it with a fresh tube. Patches aren't working apparently, and we'll just want to make sure that the bikes go out and that they're going to last, you know, to spring, so they'll be rideable. So please check this pile and replace with fresh tubes. This pile here in the end, there's a couple of bikes that are to a point where, you know, the unskilled folks can't really take it much further. So I like to, when you have a real whiz mechanic, these bikes have been prepped and ready, you know, so they're clean, the tires and tubes have been addressed, all the parts are there, and then the whip mechanic can just come in and knock them out. So just be sure to delegate as best you can. Inside this first bay here, we did some housekeeping, got it cleaned up quite a bit, and there are certainly plenty of bikes to work on, and if you have lots of help, feel free to dive into this. We have these 2 racks set up in here, and I'd encourage you to use those for adult bikes. But all the bikes, kids' bikes that remain in here need attention, and they need to be looked at. So if you have extra hands, ask folks to pump up tires in here and clean, and also make complete. So those are some pretty, you know, if you have unskilled folks who just want to help, tires, cleaning, and that kind of stuff is great. Supplies tend to be a little short as usual up here. I did bring up some tubes and things. We have a lot of 20, and I think we have some 24s over here where we keep them in this filing cabinet, those filing cabinets. I could recommend bringing some spray bottles with a mild cleaning solution. Some of this stuff that I have right here, I think that's pretty dense for the kind of stuff we're going to be doing. So I don't know if we have simple grain, but that would be certainly appropriate. And a bunch of rags, we could certainly use those. So as far as other tools, we're pretty well stocked up on stands, and most of these bikes don't even need to go up on a stand, you know, the 1-speed tiny bikes. So have fun.